Ooh, might make your head blow off.
Hey, yo, it's a talk show host, Kaynah Lassiter. Join me for an episode of Relations, the most lit hour of adult conversation.
Hold up, you know you can't forget about me. It's 51 Spade, alpha male G-O-D, one half of Relations. You wanna hear the truth? Can you handle the truth? It's where it's at, baby. It's where it's at, baby.
What's good? Welcome to an all-new episode of Relations. My name is Kaynah Lassiter.
It's your boy, alpha male G-O-D, 51 Spade, the ninja you love to hate. I'm in the building.
Yes, we have two exciting topics tonight. It is the most lit hour of adult conversation, and we're going to dive right into the first topic being, is sex make or break in your relationship? And why are men more open to building than women? I think we'll start with that one first. Why is it that men are more open to building than women? This actual topic was taken from a meme from 21 Savage, who said it's nothing for a rich man to take a woman and build her up. But a rich woman won't even look over at a broke man. So that is where we actually got the topic. And when I read it, I'm like, you know what? This isn't about the people that I know, because I know lately I've been coming to the seat and I'm like, well, all the stories I know are this way. And it would have been the same thing today, because most of the women who are my friends, or most of the women that you listen to talk, they are always the breadwinner in the situation, and they have always helped pull someone else up. But I'm also talking about people in a different field or a different class. Like, we're the working class. 21 Savage is not in the working class, so to speak. He's probably got $1 million in the bank. So when you're talking about women that have $1 million in the bank, then you probably are looking for a different type of guy and aren't looking for someone to have to help. You're looking for someone who can match what you have. But the men are actually saying, hey, I don't mind grabbing a bitch that's just an IG model and helping her get big. You know, so I definitely had to come to the table with a different perspective, other than what I'm used to seeing, because I'm not used to seeing, you know, a brother riding around, you know, like looking for the next chick to help. It's usually the other way around.
I don't think it really works like that. I don't feel like men necessarily are looking for that, but because men are men, I think men are just more used to having to build a foundation that may include taking care of a woman or not taking care of a woman. If it's a woman that you meet and she's kind of stable on her feet and you might be making more money than her, regardless of whether you a superstar or, you know, working at a energy plant, I think the scenario is still going to be the same. Because he's still gonna say, I'm the man, I need to take the reins and ride it out, versus women. And that's gonna be a hard one, because I'm not a woman, but I do understand that when you see women, the only thing I can really think of is that if you're in a bad scenario, which most women always feel that they are, and they had to fight and scrap for everything that they have to get, then I think they're not as willing to share what they got going on, because they think that they're going to probably get taken advantage of. And I don't think the mindset is the same, because I feel like men, a lot of times, we're so used to building something from nothing. I feel like once a woman builds something from nothing, she's more afraid that she would lose it, so she's just not willing to share it. And I don't really think that has anything to do with whether he's up or down. I feel like I would feel that way no matter if the woman worked at Mac or, you know, she worked at a hospital or this and that. Like, they look at it as, if you're a man and then I'm helping you, then you're not a man. So I feel like they're not willing to do something like that. Like, I can think about Insecure and the character that was Issa's man. He wasn't a bum or anything like that, but he was trying to get his business off the ground. But she looked at it as it was a problem for her.
You know what it is? I think it's the times that we live in. because even when you talk about shows like Insecure, for me, there still is, even though I related to a lot of the issues that she wrote about, it's still, I could feel kind of an age gap. Those issues versus my issues. They, like I said, they were relatable, but the issue that she had with him starting off a business and looking at him, looking down on him, that's all new to me. I really don't know whether it's the era of time that has passed by and like the women have just evolved into different people, or I'm just a slow thinker. Like I'm just too much of a nurturer. I don't know, but I just don't relate to me, ambition is everything. So it doesn't take you to have a whole bunch of money in the bank for me to be interested in what your mind is capable of, because your mind could be capable of $1 million empire, and I'm gonna blow you off because you just got a couple of $100 in the bank. That doesn't make any sense.
But I think society tells, I agree with you as far as like, I think what's going on is a time change, but I think it's society. Like if you look at stuff now, it's like they're building y'all. That's why I said, like, when men meet women, we look at women sometimes, we try to figure out which one you trying to be. Like, because some women come off acting like a man and want to be equal like a man and want to say they can do shit like a man. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's how it actually comes off. So I feel like a lot of stuff that they're showing now in movies and stuff like that, that's why they're showing like the main character in a Star Wars being switched from a man to the main role is this woman that's saving the galaxy. And then when you look at Marvel, it takes this woman like Captain Marvel and turn her to the woman and say, well, this woman is the woman that's strong and saving the universe. And they're starting to switch, not necessarily, I don't want to say like role reversal, but they're basically saying like, y'all women don't need to be in distress. Y'all don't need to be rescued. And I think women have bought into more of that. So that way, when they look at a man, they were like, well, if I had to do all of this, then you shouldn't be where you are. But by you not being a man, I think men are faced with way more tasks and difficulties than the woman. Because if you kind of break everything down, like you mentioned, like earlier, you said, well, 21 Savage. So let's just say, for instance, like I always say, like when people open businesses, like, you know, you would probably go get a loan or something like that and not enabling you to use your own money. When you take women, for example, like if a man has a child, not saying that he can't, but his first resort isn't saying, let me get help, government help, assistance and stuff like that. And you have women that do that. Well, that helps. So a man rent ain't $40 or $80 or $100. You see what I'm saying? And if she decides to work an extra job or if she do hair, this and that, your rent is already cut in half. And then you're stacking your money. And if you getting child support from the guy, you got that. You got all the advantages on your side. Right. Where men don't have that. Men don't have that. We're using natural brain power, skills, and everything, saying we're building it from nothing. So when you see us, and you're first meeting us and we're trying to get on our feet, it might look that way to certain women like it's bummish, but I don't feel that way because we don't have the help. We're building something from nothing. Yeah. And if you have help, whether it's government assistance or whatever, and you get to this point, like let's say, for instance, like you're trying to get to nursing school, which that's a career job. Mm-hmm. Well, if once you do that, if you have government assistance and shit like that, and you get into the nurse field,
yeah, someone helped you.
You had all the help, and then the man don't have that. Mm-hmm. So we're looked at as a man, but I think that sometimes women don't also, and I'm not saying that they have to, but they're not also giving you a pass to be like, well, you should be further. So, I mean, I get what you're saying where it might be like an age gap or this and that, but she was young too. It wasn't necessarily like she had all her shit together. Like it wasn't like she was just working this grand job and she was on top of her shit and he was just lower down. Mm-hmm. She ain't really have all her ducks in a row. Mm-hmm.
I definitely do think where you brought up the word society, I think they are all to blame for this because... And you know what? I can't blame it all on society either because I do think, like I've said in many shows before, I think women, the reason why we're in the area of Me Too and in the area of women don't need to be rescued is because whatever happened before that brought us there. So I'm talking about being tired, overworked, used, and abused. And so when you have years of all that going on, to fast forward now 2020, some of the most powerful women in the world, people running the world, doing their own things, sex-wise, financial-wise, just being very powerful. I think that was probably the next thing in line naturally that you're now seeing or just hearing from men saying, well, damn, a female with money wouldn't even look at a broke guy. As long as that's been going on, this is my first time really hearing men start to complain about that standard. So it has to be happening quite frequently, not maybe in my neck of the woods, but it's definitely happening. And I think with society and with everything that women have had to go through is the blame for having that type of mentality. Because I can imagine, if I'm imagining the ultimate celebrity in my head, which is Oprah, I don't imagine that she would go and purposely put herself even in an environment that someone would be able to get into her space that wasn't in position to be in her space. Oprah is not going to be at the bowling alley around the corner from the crib. She's going to be somewhere where people are more like her. Mm-hmm. Men, on the other hand, who are very wealthy, go slumming all the time. All the time. So they're in environments that are conducive to meeting women who are not on their level. Mm-hmm. Rich men like the strip club. They like to go on vacation, like guys' trips. They like to yacht. And when you're doing these things, there are people who are at your beck and call. So you're automatically, when you're in those environments, are drawing a line between the power player and the civilian. And I think that's probably pretty manipulative on the man's part in some way, because he could be doing it unconsciously, just putting himself in places where he's loved and honored and adored and looked up to. And sometimes you want to be in a place where you're up here and everybody else is down there. But with women, I think once we're up there, we want everybody in our circle to be up there too. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. But I will say that there's a big difference also the way that men see shit and women see shit. So I'm going to say this. Men, I don't want to use Oprah as an example because that wouldn't be like that wouldn't kind of break down how I'm thinking. So
okay.
I would
use
say
someone else.
I would say, let's say I'm gonna use somebody like Jill Scott.
Okay.
Okay. For instance, Jill Scott is probably someone you could probably bump into at a hotel, having lunch or something like that. And I feel like, no matter what platform that you on, if I was just attracted to Jill Scott, it wouldn't really be by her money. So I feel like I could just shoot my shot and not even worry about like the fact that I work a regular job. I wouldn't approach it like that. I don't think women approach seeing a man in that type of scenario. I feel like a lot of women, a lot of times, like if they're not sexy, if they don't view themselves as a sexy way of something that a man can just automatically look at and then find themselves that way, I think women start nitpicking themselves before they would approach a guy that's famous or have money or anything like that, because they also want to make it seem like they have their shit in a row, so it doesn't look like that this man has to pay for everything or this man has to take care of them and this and that. They don't want to look bummish, so I don't necessarily feel like they would put themselves out there like that, like a man would. I think our confidence level is way different, because men that don't even really have money would still take a shot at some shit that's a long shot. I don't feel women would. I feel like women, if it's a long shot, they would be a little bit more hesitant about saying, let me holler at Idris Albus, or you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like
Idris Albus.
Like I feel like they don't want to feel like they rescued, and a man doesn't feel like that.
Mm-hmm. You saying a man doesn't feel like someone
Like this woman is rescuing him or something like that.
No,
like,
of course they don't feel like that. That would be like.
But that's why I'm saying, like, when you saying like someone like Oprah, like I feel like a man would approach, just because they're not in that
same class.
That same class. Even if it was a person that she is at a resort, or it's a closed off resort, I feel like one of the workers would try, just because it's a long shot. It might work, it might not, but the man theory behind it is we have this type of mentality.
A long shot, though, being somewhere in an environment where someone takes a long shot versus placing yourself in an environment where you're being catered to is quite different. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think you're missing what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, even because she's not there for that. You get what I'm saying? Like, she might want to keep her circle all the same, all the way across it. So the people that she mingle with and shit like that. But I feel like men at even on that level, they still just wouldn't give a fuck. Like, they still would shoot their shot just for shits and giggles.
But you're saying a woman would.
But a woman wouldn't do that.
No,
because
she wouldn't.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying, like, those two things are totally different, because the mentality behind it is totally different. Like, a man could shoot it on a whim, and for him, even if she wouldn't let him in the circle, that's why I use somebody like Jill Scott. Even if he wouldn't let him in the circle, if he fucked, he would consider that a win. You get what I'm saying? A woman wouldn't consider that a win. Mm-hmm. Oh, I fucked Idris Elba.
Idris Elba. Yeah.
They're not gonna consider that a win if he just bucks them. But it's not like that for a man. You get what I'm saying? Like, for a man, it goes for levels. So if he got to that, he feel like he can get to another level and get to another level, to another level. Mm-hmm. For a woman, I feel like it's not the same. Like, if you got fucked by him, you don't know if it's another level after that, because he could just say, well, thanks. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now you can lift your ass up out of here.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So I think the fear of that is you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. The fear is definitely present with that, which is a whole nother topic. But it's interesting because just recently I was watching an episode, which I know most people who probably listen to podcasts, anytime I say the Kardashian name, they probably cringe, but it's one of my favorite reality shows. And I was just watching, not recently, I think it may have been the end of last season. Khloe hadn't started dating after having a baby and breaking up with Tristan Thompson. So her mom happened to be in like a Lowe's or something, and she had this guy that she met, and she was like asking him questions. Are you single? I mean, he just had on he looked like a bodybuilder. He had on a regular t-shirt, very cute, handsome, just regular, normal guy. Didn't have on a suit or anything. And her mom is talking to this guy like, hey, I have a single daughter. And I know the guy recognizes her as Kris Jenner, and says, hey, I got one of my daughters is single. Would you take her on a date? Would you like her? And he was like, yeah. So she takes a picture of him, and she calls Khloe from the store like, hey, look at this guy. He's handsome. Get out a little. Y'all should go on a date. And I'm bringing up the story because it's interesting that either she was just doing that for the cameras, which she totally could have. The whole thing could have been staged. But me at home, it's interesting. I'm at home going, but who is that? Like, what does he do? You know what I'm saying? I'm more protective of this person that I don't even really know, but she's someone that I look up to as being beautiful and having everything, having all of her shit together. Why would she just want to go on a date with some random dude from the fucking Lowe's? Like, what the hell is Kris Jenner doing? But isn't it interesting that I felt that way and her mom didn't feel that way? Hey, this is a cool guy. You should let him take you on a date. So I thought, and I just thought about that now in this moment while you were talking, the pressure that I felt seeing her having the opportunity just to date some normal guy. I'm like, why would she want to do that?
But you just proved my theory. You're right. I said that the women have the fear of shit that they would lose, and men don't think like that. Like, you automatically right there are saying, like, this woman have all these millions, or this woman is famous, or this woman is, and that's what I'm saying. Like, women have those type of thoughts.
They do.
And they're automatically building these bricks, this and that. Now you got to remember, like, this is also where, by using that example, this is also where her age bracket comes into that scenario, because women on her level, the mama, they come from that era where, they're not being picky. This could possibly be a good guy. You know what I'm saying? Where a lot of the women now, like don't feel that way. And that's what I'm saying. So they already have these judgments about men that we're bad, we assholes, we only want pussy. He could probably take me for everything I got. And a lot of women come out of those type of relationships. Like anytime I've hear women come out of relationships and they've had a breakup, 9 times out of 10 they're saying everything that they lost. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean just money. They're talking about everything they lost.
Yeah.
Oh, I lost my body because you got me pregnant with 3 kids and I lost that. He took my money and I gave him everything to build this into his company and he ain't left. And it's just the complaints will come in. So that's why I feel like moving on to another relationship after that, they still have all these scars that are preventing a good guy to come in anyway, and that guy could have like the brain to be a millionaire. Yeah. And they would pass on the guy versus the guy that already is a millionaire. But to me, you putting yourself right back in the same position of how you gonna get all your shit took anyway, because that guy is already a savage. Yeah. He already is at the top of the food chain, and he know that. You know, sometimes when guys are good guys, that mentality hasn't coming into play because they don't really have anything yet. They still building and they still hungry, but women overlook that. So I don't feel like they are willing to help build a guy from this to that, where with women it's not necessarily, a bad thing. Guys don't really look at time as a loss. We don't really look at...
It's the only thing you don't get back. How can you not look at it as a loss? You cannot. It's the only thing in the world you cannot get back.
I think like, is a guy, the difference is an upgrade for us is way better. It's never a loss. The upgrade could be way better. Like Michael Jordan could have had some great years with his wife, or some bad years, but he ain't lose anything. Like really, at the end of the day, he got another wife. She younger. He's still gonna be fucking. He ain't gonna be dealing with menopause. He ain't gonna be dealing with any of the shit that he would have been dealing with his wife. I think in reverse, women feel like it could be an end all be all for them is the time goes by.
Absolutely.
So that's why we don't look at that as a loss. You get what I'm saying? Because like really, like, hey, I mean, we can have babies all the way till we 80. Realistically, if we wanted to. And I feel like, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm just saying that women start putting time on that type of shit.
Because we have to.
Exactly.
You just made it very clear. Y'all never stop. You know what I'm saying? You could get a woman pregnant at 80 years old. Your sperms don't, as long as you're eating healthy and working out, there's a way to make that work. We stop actually producing what it takes to make children at a certain time. So I can't really, and you know what? I'm with you as a girlfriend of guys, meaning friend of guys. I get it. It's a lot of pressure when it comes to the topic of women and time, but it's something that can't be changed. And I would hope that men were more empathetic to science.
I get it, but we can't be empathetic to that. And I know that you feel like we should, but we just can't be. Like right now, when we talking about, we in an era right now where Ray J is divorcing his wife. Dr. Dre is divorcing his wife. That's over 25 years, this and that. But the only thing Dre worried about coming out that shit is he's thinking about coming out that shit unscathed. He ain't worried about her. He worried about, I need my money intact as much as it can be. I'm Dr. Dre.
And he's not worried about, oh my God, I wasted 25 years.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, if he's still stepping in any club right now, like that divorce,
he good. It doesn't affect him, but it's not the same on the other end.
I'm not saying that it is.
It's so much different.
I'm not saying that it is. So now we talking about the differences between women and men. But so that's when you ask me the question. That's why I'm answering your question. You're like, well, you can't get back that time. Yeah. I'm like, we don't care if we get the time back.
It's not. But you know what?
And I'm not saying that the next woman that he get to gonna be 100% grade A up, right? But what I'm saying is, it's like it's in his rear view now. He's not gonna dwell on some shit that's in his rear view.
Of course
now it's about moving forward.
Of course not. But you know why the woman's still dwelling in hers? Because every man she meets going forward, she's gonna have to look back to explain. What if he wants more kids? What if she's scarred? Like you said, women leave with scars and men really don't. So the things that women
men leave with scars.
Could be, but you're saying they're not looking in the rear, so they don't allow those scars from keeping them looking forward. You know why? Because it really doesn't probably make a difference to their future. A woman who's been married for 25 years may have had kids with that guy. Her life is forever changed.
Yeah, but hold on, but there, I say I don't agree with you on that end, because it's a man that have kids. I still have to account for my kids. You get what I'm saying?
But you didn't have to carry them, which means I maybe went from 118 pounds to 180.
I get that, but I also have, what I do have to account for is, like, if I meet a woman right now and she want kids and I already have kids, I don't want kids. So I'm still in the same boat.
You are.
Like at the end of the day, like, I'm still sitting there saying, like, I meet this new woman, and because I was not wasting my time with my baby mama, but that time with her was the time I was having kids, and I'm like, cool, I can have a boy and I can have a girl and shit like that, and now I done transitioned into another part of my life. I still gotta explain that to the woman that I get, because 9 times out of 10, now again, is a man, I'm probably gonna choose somebody younger, which that younger woman is gonna be like, hey,
I want to have babies.
I want to have some kids.
You know what? We definitely owe, because we're way off topic, but we owe what we're talking about its own topic on the show, because we've never tackled that. After a relationship, which one is actually more affected? We're still at the beginning of just being in a situation where someone is asking us to build. And while you were talking, I did like a self-eval. Have I ever turned down someone with potential?
As a woman, I'm quite sure you have. Because the thing about it is, I feel like the people y'all turn down with potential, they're just guys that y'all just don't like. Like, you have a type. All women have a type. But the guy that probably has potential is so far from what you like, you just like, nah.
You know what? I'm not going to say that, because I'm going to say this. I think I'm going to take the excerpt from what 21 Savage said. A rich woman won't even look a broke nigga way. Mm-hmm. Won't even look his direction. Mm-hmm. And I took that part and I did a self-eval. Have I ever been in a situation where I'm like, I wouldn't even dare? Absolutely. But it wasn't what he didn't have. It was his approach. You can't be walking and come up to me in the Cadillac and be like, let me take you out.
Why not?
Because now I'm taking you out. If let me finish, because I know you're gonna have a great rebuttal for this.
Most definitely.
My question, what I want to plant a seed with you is, how do I know he was walking? Everything is in your approach. If I'm going to an interview, the person that I'm sitting across from is not gonna know that I caught the bus and ran there. They're just not gonna know that, because that's not what I want the first impression to be. Now, if I'm Will Smith, if I'm in the pursuit of happiness, his situation was real. That was taken from a real story. He caught a bus. He had to chase after somebody. He showed up to an interview sweaty, dirty. That's 1 in a million that you're going to be a brilliant mind and be able to talk yourself out of that. In most cases, the door slammed in your face if you come to an interview missing a shoe. This is real life. Mm-hmm. So you can't be walking, and I can tell you've been walking, and approach me. If you really like me that much, don't talk to me that day if I could tell you just got off the bus or you just got finished running from the bus to make it somewhere on time. Take your time with me and do something that stands out if you're broke. If you know you broke, then do something else so that broke doesn't matter. And that has to happen in your first impression. It's got to happen in the very beginning to at least spark my interest enough that when you finally tell me that you don't have a car, I don't care. When you finally tell me you've been down on your luck for 6 months and you ain't had a job, I can't tell. I'm going to be in shock, like that you're kidding me. You know why? Because you smelled good the first time I talked to you. We met at the movies. I don't know why. But maybe I thought it was impressive that you said, hey, I'll meet you at 7 instead of asking me to pick you up. So it's all in your presentation and being creative. If you're missing something, then make up for it in other areas. So yes, I've been guilty of saying, no. But I only said that because I knew he didn't have his shit together from jump. He didn't do enough for me to care that he had holes in his shoes. He didn't do enough for me to not care that he was a little sweaty. Or, he just didn't do enough to make me focus on something else. Fair enough?
Yeah, you proved my point entirely. Everything that you just said, you just proved my point and didn't even realize that you proved the point of what I just said. You want to know what it was?
Yeah.
And how you missed it? The guy with potential, even though he don't have a car, even though he came up to you, and I'm going to go from this standpoint. The guy that you keep talking about, at least represent yourself the right way. You might look one way, but you might be another way, is the guys that y'all always pick. See, the problem is y'all pick guys that's faking, and basically lying to y'all, and that's how y'all end up in situations where y'all getting took. See, by the time y'all realize that this is going on, that presentation that you're talking about to give you, that's him taking his time lying to you. And you're falling for that shit. See, the guy that's coming with truth, you understand what I'm saying, is not the guy that y'all want. That's and you can smile, but this is what I'm saying is it just came out your mouth. Take your time. I don't know that you don't have no job. You should. You understand what I'm saying?
Not on the first impression. That's not important. The first time I meet you, that you're not working.
But I get that. But what I'm saying to you is this is the reason why guys do this type of shit. When y'all be asking why guys lie to y'all, this is some of the reason why. Because of the things that you're saying right now. You're saying, hey, first impressions are everything. So impress me to at least the point that I don't even know, or I don't even have the clue that these things are going on. And this is going to make me feel better about going into, seeing you, dating you. But that whole thing is a facade. That whole thing is a lie. So the shit that you're waiting for versus the guy that really might have some potential. For one, we all have bad days. We all have shit that's happened to us one way or the other. He might have lost his car the day before, and this is the reason why he's running, or this is the reason why he's walking, or this is the reason why he's doing any of this shit. But you're going to shut him down because you just don't like his presentation. But the nigga that come with this big bold-faced ass lie when women be like, he was hiding a whole family from me.
But who's to say he has to have? Who's to say that person is now forced to lie instead of just being more creative about his situation?
Don't concentrate on the word lie, because that's not really what I'm trying to really concentrate on. What I'm saying is the guys really go out of their way to impress you because they also don't want to look like a bum. They also, if they're going through something in life, they don't want you to know that they're going through that. If he just lost his job, but he got an Armani suit and he has a car rental and he has all those things going on, he's still going to present that shit to you like he okay. Because in his mind, he might feel like he is okay. But then now we're going back to what you were saying earlier about time. And as time go by and he start losing this shit, this is when you're going to find out he ain't who he said he was versus the guy with potential. He might have lost his car that day that you met him, but he might have been an internship at a record company, or he might have been going into college. You don't really know. He might, the next day his dad might die. He might inherit the whole company. You understand what I'm saying? But judging someone on first impressions, I understand why you saying that. But what I'm saying is his truth a lot of time is what he's giving up and not afraid to do it, because trust is a man. It's hard to give up truth like that. But to paint a scenario of something that ain't real, guys do that well all the time.
I'm sure they do, but I'm definitely not putting out the energy that's more acceptable than telling the truth. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you really think I'm worth it to you, then I think you should give me the benefit of a great first impression. It doesn't mean sit down and tell me you're a lawyer when you work at Winn-Dixie. It doesn't mean that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with working at Winn-Dixie. But to come to the table and just tell the world that you're an underachiever and you don't care.
But that might be from your standpoint. And also keep in mind that certain things happen at certain times. I get what you're saying. And the circumstances that you're talking about might, they might apply. But I'm going to say that realistically for a guy, it won't apply. Who is to say that he's ever going to see you again? who's to say that he's ever gonna meet you again?
So
You get what I'm saying? It's like there's a lot of times, just as a guy, I've seen a woman sometimes, and I'm like, damn, I'm fucked up.
Exactly, and sometimes you haven't always shoot your shot.
But I'm kicking myself though, because I'm like, I'm straight. I just was in a bad scenario, so I still should have shot it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I could have put myself into position. Look, I understand.
I look horrible. But that's still a creative approach. That's what I'm saying. That's why I brought up Will Smith. That's why I brought up that example. Because I'm sure immediately people are thinking, well, there's been a situation where somebody was just down on their luck and they shot their shot. That was a great example of that. But he didn't just say, hey man, I'm just down on my luck today. Bad shit always fucking happened to me and I ended up chasing this fucking bum down. He didn't say that.
But that's
he
why,
was creative.
That's why I asked that though. I was asking you that because I took it as you saying he can't take you out because he ain't got a car.
No, I wasn't saying that. I was saying that you might not want to say, just, hey, let me take you out, and then I agree, and then you say your follow-up to that, because you don't have a car, is going to be, okay, can you come pick me up? Because that's happened to me before. Okay. Somebody has asked me out. I didn't assume they didn't have a car. You asking me out. So why would I assume that? Mm-hmm. I only found out because they was like, you going to have to pick me up because I don't got no whip. Mm-hmm. I've already said yes. I mean, I'm not judging him off of anything other than, okay, well, damn, at least, because you hardly get that these days. Everybody want to Netflix and chill. So I was already impressed with, hey, let me take you out sometime. I'm like, okay, that sounds great. And he was like, okay, cool. And we decided on a day.
Yeah, this must have been a while ago.
It was a while back. Okay. And then he said,
I was going to say, because nah, man, people got Lyft and Uber and all kind of shit.
Yeah, this was a while back.
Even if you ain't got a car,
you know how to finagle.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean.
I can still get over, like, I can still take someone out now in a Lyft.
But still, even back then, there was someone that he could have called. He could have called a cab, anything.
I got you.
But for me to agree and then for him
I just needed to know all the ins and outs. So that's why I was saying from that standpoint, though, I just wanted to let you know from a man's standpoint of how, we look at certain situations. Sometimes we just shoot our shot because we just don't know when we'll have the opportunity. Now, there are times when we don't shoot it. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then have certain regrets behind it. So I totally get what you're saying.
Right. And for you, and I will say this, I will agree. If it's a situation where you're in the Houston airport, I get it. You are passing through. It's an hour layover. You have no choice. But if this is someone at work or someone that you're going to run into frequently because y'all come to the same club every other weekend, then just take your time.
Well, if that's
and
the case,
make a good presentation.
If that's the case, I think just in general is our audience, I think they get that. But what I'm saying is, like, there are times when we meet women and we got that 60-second window. And it's like, I'm in flip-flops, but this going to have to work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I just got that small window. I don't know if I'm going to see you again. I don't know. And I just want to get to know you.
But that made me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Hey, like, I'm on limited time. I don't know if I'm ever going to see you again. I know I got on flip-flops. That's what I mean about being creative in your approach. Some people just don't know how to put their pride to the side. And you got to start off by saying, hey, I know I look like this. And hey, I know I'm that. But that already now has my attention because you were humble enough to realize that you looking a lot better than I look today. You look like you got your shit together. It appears that I don't. I'm making that clear before I even go a step further. But let me say this. I might not ever see you again and shoot your shot. How can you be a bitch to that?
You'll be surprised.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm
sure I would.
You'll be surprised.
I'm sure, because it was a meme by someone who's very, very successful. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And to hear it come from someone who's very successful means that this person has ran into that a million times before, and now having $1 million in the bank, he doesn't think that way. So it stuck out to him like, damn, I don't go to no somewhere and before I even try to talk to a bitch, find out what she got in the bank or what she do, because it doesn't matter to him. He's straight. You know what I'm saying? You work at the strip club, fine. You the clerk at the skating rink, fine. What time you gonna be ready? Men don't really care. But for women, we care, one, because most of the time, if you broke, your presentation is also broke.
I ain't gonna say that, you know what I'm saying? Because I know some lames out here where they presentation don't rep that they broke. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do a little
your
sniffing. But
I
got it though.
Your presentation could be crystal clean as the Orbit Lady's smile, and you have not a penny to throw in a wishing well, and you could still look and appear like you have your shit together without one lie. It's taking care of yourself and just coming up with a creative approach and being witty, depending on what you have inside. Your talents sometimes are worth more than any amount of money in the bank. So those are the things that you have to let shine. So we're gonna switch gears for the night into our next topic. Is sex make or break? For me, I'm gonna go with make. What do you go with? It makes the relationship, and it could also break it, but it definitely makes it.
I mean, I go with both of them. I think it can make or I think break. It can make, and I think it can break. Mm-hmm. I think it can do both.
It can.
Because I mean, if we being real, I mean, we live in a sex world, a sex society. Everything is based upon sex. Everything is sexual. Even though I feel like for men, we're expected to be always on a sex level, and women not so much. But I think now it's starting to shift a little bit in today's client, where even women, like I said, are at the point where they like, if men can fuck 100 women, then I can have 2 men at one time. You know, I feel like now women are becoming a little bit more put themselves a little bit more out there than it used to be. So now women are like, I didn't come last night, or your dick not big enough, or, you know, like they're coming at some levels where I feel like they used to wouldn't go there. And now I feel like they on a level of, you know, like, I'm woman, hear me roar, and, you know, like, hey, we only had sex like once last week. You like, what the fuck? Who keeping track of that type of shit? You know, it's like it's like they probably wouldn't used to say some of that shit, and now they would. So those are make or break type of scenarios.
Right. For me, this one. And it's crazy because I'm just so much of a self-evaluator. For me, I hated being on the fence, or I hated having to agree that sex meant so much. And it's because as little girls, we grow up with sex isn't everything. Sex does not mean someone loves you. There are more to relationships than sex. These are the things that we actually grew up on. So it's hard for me, even as a person in my relationship sometimes, to genuinely go to someone or to my partner about sex. And when I say that, it doesn't mean I don't make comments. I just don't make genuine comments. Meaning, I don't go to my spouse and like, hey, I need to talk to you about something. Something's really bothering me. That's a genuine expression to, hey, there's something going on in the bedroom, and I think we just need to take time to talk about it. I don't come from that approach. I come from the petty approach. So if I'm not getting enough dick, you know, the door gonna slam. I'm not getting enough dick, I got an attitude, you know, and it's because it's an uncomfortable thing to have to say to someone that you're supposed to love, that sex means more to me right now. It's very uncomfortable. Even sitting here admitting that is super uncomfortable, because you don't want your spouse to think that they're just a machine. You want your spouse to know, hey, I appreciate you being home. Or I appreciate you taking out the trash. I appreciate you taking care of the dog. I appreciate you taking care of me when I'm sick. Imagine that. Imagine being sick for a week and your spouse is taking care of you. And then the day you're better, all you want is dick, and he didn't fuck you, and you like, damn, we ain't had sex in 6 days. Well, bitch, you been sick for 5. And you took care of me during the 5 days, and I still have the nerve to come to you on the 6th day and complain about getting no dick. But that's the type of shit that we do, and it feels very shitty, and that's why we have negative responses to it, because it's our pride and an embarrassment to go to our spouse and have a genuine conversation about not being sexually taken care of, because you feel bad about it in some way because they took care of you for 5 days. They worked really hard. There are things that we know about our men's lives that kind of keep us from having the genuine conversation and instead turns us bitchy. Because in our minds, we know that your back is probably hurting, but at the time, we just don't care. We just want to get fucked, but it still doesn't feel good saying it, so we react. And so I had to be as transparent about it as I possibly could, because I'm one of those people who would prefer, because of pride, to not go there genuinely and go there in a petty way and just make you feel like, well, damn, you know what, I haven't fucked her in 6 days, even though 5 of those days she's been 6. In some ways, we want to guilt you so that we don't feel guilty about having a genuine issue with it. I hope that's understandable to you, or I kept it as basic, so it's not that complex.
I wouldn't care if you made it genuine. You could have made a square root too. I mean, women are always the same no matter what. This ain't no rocket shit. Y'all just don't want to be. Y'all want to let y'all slut side out, y'all hoe side out, and y'all try to be as women as can be. All the way until it comes to that
Lord.
dick, you know. And when it comes to that, you know, the Incredible Hulk come out sometimes, and I think like and y'all not considerate of a lot of shit. Like when you was sitting there saying that scenario, I was just saying to myself, like, even though you painted the perfect scenario and was like, you know, I've been sick, we ain't fucked in a whole week of this and that. But never not one time did it cross your mind is that this motherfucker just seen me in some of the most nastiest positions he ever could have seen me in, and that might just not turn him on. Because last time I checked, watching my girl throw up, shit, fart, do any of the above, on the 6th day, I'm not going to be feeling like laying pipe. That's just me, but it's the last thing on my mind. You understand what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna get credit for it, you know, for doing all this other shit that I just did, you know, cleaning up puke and doing all this other type shit. I'm become Superman with super dick, and I'm supposed to just do it. And I'm not saying that you wrong for that, because I feel like a lot of times the sex talk between relationships is going to cause someone to admit a fault. So to me, the problem is always going to be on a situation of you want to have this conversation with your significant other, and that is going to cause you to say what you're displeased about, and this person has to admit it. I think I'm gonna speak from a man's standpoint, that even our sex needs for men sometimes get kind of downtoned or overlooked is being bullshit when it comes from a man, because it's sex. And I just think that women just look at men as like disgusting creatures. So if we come to a woman and we saying we having an issue with something, I don't think women take that approach as serious as a man would take it. You get what I'm saying? Because a lot of times I feel like with women all think they good in bed. It's not true, but I think it's and I mean it's not. I mean majority of the time, like I think that women, I get it. Y'all fake sometime and y'all boost male egos and that type of shit too. But I feel like it don't take much to boost women ego. Like if you tell a woman that they pussy good, they'll take that and run with it.
Oh yeah, that's good for life. Then.
You see what I'm saying? And that's not true. It's like that's what I'm trying to tell you right now. It's good for life. How? That's not true. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So that's why I tell men, don't be saying this shit to these goddamn females. Like these females taking it and they all think they throat goats. And they pussy is made of Skittles. And I'm telling you, it is not true. I mean, it's just one of those things. So it's like if you approach a woman on the issues that you might be having, you get what I'm saying? And sometimes for men, they might sound over the top. You know what I'm saying? But they not. For men that's saying like, every woman is different in the bed. Some women know how to caress the ego. Some know how to get inside your head. Some just have sex appeal that kind of ooze up out of them. And I think because women sometimes have like what you're talking about, I think they miss the point when their man is not really touching
Turned
them,
on.
or their man is not really turned on. And now the problem could be both people's problem, because one, now you're dealing with a man now that don't want to touch you as much, but you also have to look at the standpoint of the man, because a man can't just be like, look, man, you done gained a bunch of weight. Your head done got kind of sloppy. I've been looking at some new porn and I want to try some shit out. You get what I'm saying? It all starts sounding like selfish shit. I'm talking now from a man standpoint, because it's like, even though I might want to come at you and say some of this shit, it's just gonna sound
bad. So
bad.
that's I think that's very interesting, because I just admitted why a woman is not approaching her man about sex genuinely is because we've been taught that sex isn't everything. And then you're saying that you're not doing it because it's gonna sound selfish.
But I don't feel that y'all are approaching it at all. Like, see, when you catching like an attitude or something like that.
But I'm telling you, that's why we're catching the attitude. It's
but
because
why not talk? That's what I'm saying.
I'm telling you why it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to
got you.
talk because you are actually taking away every other good thing that man does in that relationship to show you that he loves you, and your focus is on the fact that he ain't dicking you down. Is it important? Yes, but we've been taught that sex is not the most important thing. So I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about it. I'm saying we should. I'm just telling you why we haven't, or rather, why I really haven't been able to approach people genuinely, because I will think, I might in my head say, okay, I'm gonna talk to my spouse about our sex life tonight. But before I even get there, I'm thinking about everything he did for me that day. And it's like, damn, now is the time to beat him down about the dick. Everything else has been perfect. Why am I so focused on that? So what I end up doing is being like, oh, he gonna fuck me tomorrow, I'll just wait. And hopefully he fuck me the next day, because if he don't, now I'm slamming doors, and you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna give him a chance to come to me, one, because the conversation just feels disingenuous. Everything else is fine, so just pump your brakes on the sex. Number two is it's nagging in some way, and number three is, what woman wants to have to talk about sex or tell you that she wants to be wanted when all she wants is for you to want her? Desire is very high on the top of a woman's list. And if she doesn't feel like she's being desired, she might be able to roll over on your dick at 8 a.m. You're in the bed with her, and most of the time, your dick is going to be up in the morning. So, she might be able to just roll over and take the dick, but that's not what we want sometimes. Sometimes we want the guy to roll over, smell our neck, and then get hard and be like, damn, baby, you smell so good. You know what I'm saying? We want to be desired. We love the feeling of being wanted. So it's not, I don't even think it's about the physical aspect. The sex is almost the last thing on the list. What was the build up to it? Did you touch the small of my back this morning when I was making your breakfast? Because I only had on t-shirt and the panties. Did you notice that? And then did you notice when I rubbed your back and I touched you on the chest and kissed you on the neck? Like, there have been things during the day that you may have not even noticed, or you did or did not notice. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't notice it and you just came to bed and fucked me, yeah, you did all right. But I've been giving you them signals all day. We could have been having foreplay since 10 this morning. And so when we finally do have sex, it's explosive because we've been giving each other these little dances all day between each other. But even those things are being missed.
And I think they're being missed because you're not saying what it is. I understand that you're saying, hey, you know, we've been taught this and that. Hey, it's a new day and age. So to me, I feel like the same way that you just said in the last segment, you got to get creative with your approach. You got to get creative with your approach. You know, if you horny one day, you know, you could be like, baby, you ever ate some honey off a girl pussy? Ooh. You can try different things that's going to make the man stop in his track and be like, no, I haven't. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The approach can't just be come fuck me. Like, that ain't going to work. You know what I'm saying? Because now, when you saying come fuck me, it sounds like some slave shit. Like It sounds like some slave shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because it's not coming from a place of pure, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you hear the words, come fuck me. Like, what if I came in the room and was like, come give me some head? With an attitude. They gonna be looking like you. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, that's how come fuck me sound to a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, come fuck me, like.
I don't say it like that. I'm always like, hey, come fuck me.
No, that's how it sounds in your head. It's like, that ain't how it's transcended and it comes out to the man. Trust me, I wouldn't be saying this if that's how it sounded. Right. I'm so serious.
I actually believe you. I'm really interested in knowing how you guys convey that you want to have sex with your partner. That would be interesting. But I didn't want to cut you off. So what did you say? What were you going to say?
I just think you got to be creative in ways that you want to do it. And also, I prefer that if a woman was having a problem, and even though it might be an issue that you want to come, just bring the issue to the table and talk about it, because it's going to be uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden, it at least get the man to thinking like, okay, she's not really getting sex the way she want to. I probably do need to spark this thing up a little bit more. And then we can get, you know what I'm saying, into some better situations. Because I feel like sex is a make or break type of scenario. That's how infidelity comes into play. That's how the thoughts of what you're talking about, do he really want me or he don't want me, comes. All of that shit comes into play because we're not having those uncomfortable conversations about sex. So if I be like, listen, I'm used to squirters, you're not a squirter, so we need to come up with some other ways for you to kind of get my arousal thing going on. Mm-hmm. It's an uncomfortable conversation because I now then brought up something that you can't do. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm not saying I need you to be that. I'm just saying I need you to do something a little extra, and we just probably need to figure out what that is. Right. So if you want to put some honey on the tip, you know, wipe it out the jar and roll it down the shaft, then that's what we can do.
Then that's what we can do. What would you do to convey that you need to get off to your partner? Write in, just like this person did on our Tap In segment of Relations. This week's Tap In comes from one of our listeners, and she says, I'm talking to a new guy. Is it wrong to want a dick pic to see if he's even worth talking to? I think it should be a requirement, to be honest. I'm gonna say this. I don't like dick pics. I think it's a female trait. I think sending nudes is a female thing, and I really can't imagine a guy having to touch himself, get himself up, find the camera, the right angle, and take a picture of his dick and send it to you. To me, it would be a total turn off. But if that is something that you think you want to do, first, know that it might put him in an uncomfortable position if he's an alpha male. And number two, just know that you're now setting the tone for the rest of your talks. Because once you ask for a dick pic, guess what? He's going to ask for a pussy pic.
Is a guy, I'm going to just say, and I'm just talking from an alpha male standpoint, I don't know where they were in the relationship or courtship, right. Or I'm trying to clarify, but I'm gonna just say that if we haven't fucked, there's no dick pics that's gonna be sent. Like, this motherfucker don't come out until it's in use. That's just the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you're talking about after in a relationship, this and that, I'm also say that most women I've talked to feel like you. So for the most part, man, I think you're telling a guy to get in some positions that ain't really, you know. I get it, and there are guys out there that some don't have problems. Like, I hear that too. Like, I hear that guys feel like, hey, my dick is so big, you just need to see it. But for the most part, I ain't never seen a woman be like, you know what, this dick pic that he sent looks so scrumptious, I'm finna go fuck him. I ain't never seen that happen. Most times, women are always saying, I didn't ask for this dick pic. Yeah. What made him send this shit? Yeah. What am I supposed to do? My pussy's supposed to just get wet and then I'm just finna go give it to you. For the most part, I just, you know, even though she's saying, I feel like it'd be a requirement. I'm gonna say to you, I think you're young, and as you get a little bit older, you're gonna see that no, that shit ain't no requirement. I just think that's just you. And I'm not saying anything wrong with what she want. I'm just saying like, no, it shouldn't be no requirement. And if you want that, then you need to pick guys that will do that, because there are guys out there that will do that shit.
Yeah, this fish from the right pond. That's an episode of Relations. My name is Kaynah Lassiter. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kaynah Lassiter.
Hey, it's your boy 51 Spade Alpha Male God. Hey, hit me on both platforms. That's Twitter and IG. We're looking for the shirts at alphamalegodcreations.com. Hey, tap ins. Keep sending them in. We're going to be reading off those every week. You can reach me at spadeperry@gmail.com or DM me, as I always say. Peace.